When I was at XDA DevCon this year, I had the pleasure of meeting a man named Alex Sullivan. While we were talking, he mentioned he works for a company called NFC Ring that, as you might guess, makes NFC rings. I was somewhat familiar with them from reading about it over on Kickstarter and from some people on Google+, but thanks to Alex, I was finally able to get my hands on one of the rings right then and there. Unfortunately, it was a quality defect, so it didn't actually do anything. It was just a nice looking black ring. Once I got back home though, Alex got back in touch with me and offered to send me out a fully functional NFC ring, and before too long, as you can see, it showed right up. Now, it is not the original black model that I had. It is the signature model instead. It's got one black side and one clear side that you can see the NFC tag through. The immediate benefit of having it like this is that you can actually see the two NFC tags, where on the black model you couldn't see really anything unless you got very, very close to it, and even then you could only see just a tiny line at the edge of the tags. And actually having it two different colors means that you can easily have two different things programmed to it and keep track of this one is this thing and this is something else, and present the appropriate thing to people that you meet to give them the information. But to take a little bit of a step back, in case you're not familiar with what NFC is and what it does and what it's used for, NFC stands for Near Field Communication, and basically you can use it to transmit small amounts of information. Either a small amount of text, maybe a link to a website or an email address, maybe the contact information for somebody on your phone. And since you can program it to be just about any small amount of information, you can technically set one of these up for your device to recognize it and then respond in a certain way when you combine it with different applications. You could, for example, have an NFC tag that tells your device to go silent, or one that turns Wi-Fi on or off, things like that. These NFC rings can be used for these purposes, of course, but for someone like me, the most obvious thing to use it for seems to be exchanging contact information. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and programmed one side of the ring with a link to my YouTube channel, which you should totally subscribe to by hitting the red button down below if you haven't already, hint hint. The other side has a link to the XDA YouTube channel, which is quite awesome as well if you haven't seen it yet. In order to program the ring, you just open the NFC tag writing application on your phone. I had someone recommend TagWriter to me, so that's primarily what I've been using with it. You'll probably see from the app you've got an option to read the tag, write to a tag, erase a tag, or protect a tag. So if I scan one of the tags on the NFC ring while you're in the app, you can see the contents of that tag and find out some more information about it. You can also go back to it and you can write new stuff over it, you can erase it. As the app says, you can do all of those things I mentioned earlier. Now, over the last few months, I've been using this device, and I thought I'd go ahead and just give you my thoughts and opinions on it. In terms of everyday use, I really haven't found myself using it that much, but as I mentioned before, I tend to use it more as an information holder and information sharing device instead of as a control device. If I were so inclined, I could technically buy an NFC-controlled door lock and use this ring as a key to my home. But I haven't done that just yet. Of course, with events like CES coming up, and even more events after that, I'm sure the NFC ring is going to be extremely useful there, and the fact that I can change the contents of the tags over and over again means I can custom tailor what I want to show to people when I show the ring to them. That said, there are two relatively minor downsides to this thing. First, depending on your device, it might be a little difficult to get it to scan either one of the tags properly. NFC requires you to be extremely close in order to work properly, so if you've got a device that has a case on it, or a device with a very thick backplate, it might just not work. When I first received the ring, I couldn't get it to work at all with my OnePlus One, but with my Nexus 5 it worked perfectly. After I received the bamboo backplate for the One, now it scans with no issues, and that tells me it really has to be close to the device for the NFC tag to work. The other issue I've had with it is that since it's a round ring, it has a tendency to turn around on your finger, even though I do have it properly sized. As I mentioned before, I do have the two different tags programmed for completely different things, and I know which one is which by the color, but since the ring turns around on my finger as I'm wearing it, I have to actually look down at it and make sure it's turned the right way before I scan it on someone's device, just to make sure I'm giving them the right information. Not really a huge deal, but I thought that was worth mentioning because it was something that's been kind of a quirk since I've been using this. Now, as for the pricing, because I know you're all curious, it does run somewhere around £32, which is around $50 US. I don't know if I'd be in a huge hurry to buy one myself at that price, but it's a really neat concept and it does have a lot of potential for a bunch of different use cases. I'm curious though what you guys think. Is a ring like this worth 50 bucks? They do have a couple of different models, and they've also got a thicker one that they call the Alpha. I mean, a wider band. Might be a little bit easier to scan too. The project itself started over on Kickstarter, and it looks like from there you could get one of them for about £20, which is around $30 US. At that price, I'd probably be a little bit more likely to go ahead and purchase one. Alex, though, mentioned to me at DevCon they're also working on a ceramic NFC ring. You can see in the picture here. I am very much looking forward to taking a look at that one once it's actually done. It might hopefully make it a little bit easier to scan on more devices, as long as it's easy to tell where the tags are, like it is with this one. And from that picture on Twitter, it looks like that ring might even be a slightly higher quality ring, which is awesome. Anyway, that's going to be about all for me for today. I'll definitely be wearing this thing pretty much all the time moving forward, and if you happen to meet me at an event or something, don't hesitate to ask me to scan it for you. Thank you guys for watching though, and I'll see you next time.